Welcome to Lane Turo University. My name is Conrad Layn. If you want to locate a low price vehicle, but where you get every bang for your buck, where you get a good car for a cheap price that's not a lemon, that's pretty scary. I'm gonna teach you how to do it. So again, do your own due diligence. I'm gonna leave quite a bit of articles and research in the description below that you can check and scrutinize and review yourself. Don't just take my word for it, but I'm gonna teach you how to get cheap cars. I have 35 cars currently that are rent independently, and I rent a few on Turo platform as well. And I'm teaching you how to do the same thing. You can do this, you can be better than me. So let me share the secret with you. So first and foremost, what you need to do is I left the Turo article in regards to the Turo eligibility for what vehicles Turo allows. Now, Turo typically, depending on what year you're watching this is definitely an evergreen video that doesn't matter what year you watch this, it'll be valid. Typically, it's a 12-year rule. What that means essentially is that from the date of you watching this video, Turo will allow the vehicle as long as it's the max 12 years, no more than 12 years old. If it's 13 and more years old, you can't add the car to Turo platform unless the exception of it being a classic. That's the only exception where Turo will allow a vehicle that's older than 12 years. So first and foremost, if you want to go for shopping for a classic that's cheap or a car that's not a classic, it must be under typically 13 years, 12 years or less. No more. Or if it's a classic, it's the only exception. The first thing you must do is first follow the rules. Turo does not allow the vehicle to be more than 130,000 miles on the odometer. But if you add the car, say you buy the car, it has 129,000, you add it on and it goes to well over 130,000, say 150,000, that's totally fine. It's been grandfathered in. But to add the car must have under 130,000 miles, no exceptions. Next is Turo also requires the vehicle not to be salvaged or rebuilt. Been through a total loss. They want a good working vehicle, which makes perfect sense. So that's the rule. And so what you must do, and to start locating your cheap vehicles, that way you can start building your fleet, doesn't matter if for car loan or for cash, you start going to auction houses. But there's a way you do this though. So based on whatever auction house you select, if you have a dealer's license, great. If you don't have a dealer's license, you could go to public auctions, not a problem. The first thing you do, if you're not a mechanic and you're not savvy, which definitely helps in these circumstances and situations, don't fret. I got your back. So even if you're not mechanically or oriented, what you essentially must do right now is take the same protocol Turo does. Did you know Turo trusts heavily on Carfax and AutoCheck? I also left two of those websites below so you can buy those reports. They're fairly cheap, and there's a free alternative as well that you get free. And what you can do is I left that link below. You put the VIN number in, it runs all the reports for you. It's absolutely free. You don't pay 1 penny for it. But if you want to double check and also make sure you triple check, you can also pay for Carfax or AutoChecker. Really easy way to do this. And you go to an auction yard of your choice. There's many dealer auctions if you have a dealer's license, or if you don't have a dealer license, you go to a public auction. You even go online, put the VIN. You don't even have to be near the car. Put the VIN number in, and what you start to do at that point is you see if it's been salvaged, if it's been rebuilt, if there's been any catastrophic accidents, if it's been through a total loss, if it was stolen. Whatever has happened to the car is legally branded by the state, typically, by the DMV typically. And that's the cool thing about this. So you use this the same way Turo. That's why when you add a car on, even if this is the first time it's been on the Turo platform, if you add that car on and put the VIN number in, Turo will let you know if it has if it has a car recall. It'll let you know if it's been salvaged, and they won't allow you to add the car on just by adding, because they run the same reports. You're doing what Turo does, except as the investor. So it'll let you know if the car's been through a recall or if it has an expected recall, if it's been through a total loss. You must know these things. And then when you go in person or online, then you pull the trigger, and you always plan for the worst. What I do is if I buy a car from an auction, I plan for the worst. I found some really good cars. I think 10 cars I've purchased from an auction. 2 of them gave me trouble. But I still planned in such a way where I paid, got it repaired, took care of it, and it still ended up being cheaper than what it would have been if I bought at fair market. And what this does for you, when you buy at such a deep discount, and if you pay to repair it, it still ends up being cheaper typically. It's still a good investment. The problem becomes if you buy a car that's a limit or buy a car where you have to put too much money into it where it's not worth it, that's a disaster. That's typically if there's been issues where the car's been a total loss, if it's been branded in some type of fashion and you don't know that. So when you do this in general, that's why when we go to a dealership, they usually give you a free Carfax report or a free auto check report, which is by Experian that runs car records. You can also run your own free report that I left in the description below and put the VIN number in, test it out, and look at my screen and look right there. Look at that. So I recorded that a little bit earlier, and I just want to show an example. And simple as that, you put the VIN number in, you type it in, bada bing, bada boom, pulls up the vehicle, lets you know if it has any brands on it, if it's been total loss, if it's salvaged, if it's a factory rebuilt, it lets you know these things. And just like my screen shows, you can do that from your phone, from your laptop, absolutely for free. So when you go and you want to save money, understand there's a lot of good cars at the auctions. A lot of people are scared to go there because, with good reason, if you're not mechanically oriented or inclined, you might pick a limit. But the first battle for my over 5 years of experience, going on 6 years of buying cars from auctions and also in person, etc., run those Carfax, run those auto checks, pay the extra money that's cost about $20 to run these reports, $25, or just do it for free through the government when I left there as well. It gives you a limit to 5 per day, which is phenomenal though. And lets you know if the car's been stolen, lets you know if it's branded, lets you know if it's been salvaged, etc. If it's in a flood district, there's been issues where cars have been in flood zones and sold to different states to try to wash the top, which is fraud. It lets you know that too. So that's the way you do it. You go there, you buy your car, maybe pay $200 for your car, and it's worth $2,000. Maybe you spend $2,000, the car's worth actually $10,000. Maybe there's some damage on it. You pay to repair it, but it's still under the amount it would cost fair market. You have a good deal, my friend. Oftentimes you can find cars that aren't even destroyed. It could just be that they were seized because someone didn't pay their bill. It could be that maybe, unfortunately, they might have passed away. It could have been that they're in jail. It could be that, for example, they're no longer in this country anymore. Maybe they went to another country to live. It could be a lot of reasons why a car is there. It could be that you simply just couldn't pay the car loan and the bank just left it there. It could be a lot of reasons. It could be that it simply was just stolen, but nothing's wrong with the car. Who knows what the reason is? But the point is you get these cars for cheap, rent them out on Turo or independently, and you're making money hands over fist. Anyways, don't take my word for it. Look at the description below. Always do your due diligence. If you have someone in your family that's mechanically oriented or mechanically inclined, highly recommend you to bring them with you, or ask someone, maybe find a few mechanics that maybe you could pay or become friends with them and have them come with you for free or for a few bucks. Worth it too. But if you have no mechanic, I want to show you how to do it without a mechanic. That's one of the few ways. And then what you do next as well is you take it to whatever dealer, whatever car brand you get. If it's, for example, a Nissan, you take it to Nissan. If it's a Ford, you take it to Ford. If it's GMC, you take it to GMC. Whatever the car brand is, you take it to that dealership. And the reason you take it to them is because they know their cars. And then you get an extra layer of protection where you say, hey, I just bought this car, to really make sure that there's no further damage. If there is, have them identify it. The goal is expect there to be something wrong with it, but do your best to keep the cost low by getting rid of the main errors and issues. Buy salvage title, rebuilt titles. You don't want to buy a car and think it's new and find out it's rebuilt. Those are costly mistakes, and Turo won't allow you to add it on the car. And that's what I would recommend. Anyways, that's just an extra hack. You don't have to buy cars that way. I'm just teaching you another way that's a little bit unorthodox. Anyways, like, subscribe, share for a master class. Ciao.